Hi there. It's Miss Beth again. And Winston, he's here. Maybe he'll show his face today. Sorry if I look a little windblown today, but have you been outside? It is really windy, and I went to the most wonderful parade today. The Marcus Whitman staff did a parade around the entire district. And so they didn't go by our house, but I took my grandkids and my daughter-in-law out to the end of Yahtzee Road, and we waited on the parade to go down Route 245 in between Gorham and Rushville. And so we got to see the most amazing parade of, it had to be 100 cars filled with staff, bus drivers, teachers, aides, TAs, the superintendent, principals, athletic directors. Everybody was in the parade. It was so awesome to see, and my grandkids loved it. So thank you, Marcus Whitman staff, for caring so much about your kids and for having that fun parade. It was a great way to get out. Even though it was cold and windy, it was a great way to get out and just share the love. We're going to be reading our story. We are on chapters 4, and I think we're going to read 5 today as well, of the Tale of Despereaux. If you aren't caught up with us, go back to the other chapters and listen and catch up with us, and we'll be right here waiting for you. So let's dive into the story. Yesterday, I just want to mention one thing, that while we were reading, I mentioned about somebody making a movie in their head for one of the comments that one of the characters made in the story. And as a read aloud listener, that's what you should be doing all the time. And as a reader, that's what I do all the time. Whenever I'm reading something, I'm trying to picture it in my brain, and I'm making that movie in my head. So you give it a try. Get that movie going in your head, okay? Chapter 4, Enter the P. Despereaux's brothers and sisters soon abandoned the thankless task of trying to educate him in the ways of being a mouse. And so Despereaux was free. He spent his days as he wanted. He wandered through the rooms of the castle, staring dreamily at the light streaming in through the stained glass windows. He went to the library and read over and over again the story of the fair maiden and the knight who rescued her. And he discovered, finally, the source of the honey-sweet sound. That sound was music. How many of you had predicted that that was the sound? The sound was King Philip playing his guitar and singing to his daughter, the Princess P, every night before she fell asleep. Hidden in a hole in the wall of the princess's bedroom, the mouse listened with all his heart. The sound of the king's music made Despereaux's soul grow large and light inside of him. "Oh," he said, "it sounds like heaven, and it smells like honey." He stuck his left ear out the hole in the wall so that he could hear the music better. And then he stuck his right ear out so that he could hear it better still. It wasn't too long before one of his paws followed his head, and then another paw. And then, without any real planning on Despereaux's part, the whole of him was on display, all in an effort to get closer to the music. Now, while Despereaux did not indulge in many of the normal behaviors of mice, he did adhere to one of the most basic and elemental of all mice rules. Do not ever, under any circumstances, do not ever reveal yourself to humans. But the music made him lose his head and act against the few small mouse instincts that he was in possession of. And because of this, he revealed himself, and in no time at all, he was spied by that sharp-eyed Princess P. "Oh, Papa," she said, "look, a mouse." And the king stopped singing. He squinted. The king was nearsighted, that is. Anything that was not right in front of his eyes was difficult for him to see. I can make a connection to that. Did you see that I'm wearing glasses? "Where?" said the king. "There," said the Princess P, and she pointed. "That, my dear, is a bug, not a mouse. It is much too small to be a mouse." "Oh, no, it's a mouse." "A bug," said the king, who liked to be right. "A mouse," said P, who knew that she was right. As for Despereaux, he was beginning to realize that he had made a very grave error. He trembled, he shook, he sneezed, and he considered fainting. "He's frightened," said the P. "Look, he's so frightened. He's so afraid. He's shaking. I think he was listening to the music. Play something, Papa." "A king play music for a bug?" King Philip wrinkled up his forehead. "Is that proper, do you think? Wouldn't that make this into some kind of topsy-turvy, wrong-headed world if a king is playing music for a bug?" "Papa, I told you, he's a mouse," said the P. "Please?" "Oh, well, if it'll make you happy," the king said, "I, the king, will play music for a bug." "A mouse," corrected the P. And the king adjusted his heavy gold crown and cleared his throat. He strummed the guitar and started to sing a song about stardust. The song was as sweet as light shining through the stained glass windows, as captivating as a story in a book. And Despereaux forgot his fear. He only wanted to hear the music. He crept closer and then closer still until, reader, he was sitting right at the foot of the king. Chapter 5. What Furlough Saw. The Princess P looked down at Despereaux, and she smiled at him. And while her father played another song, a song about a deep purple falling over sleepy garden walls, the princess reached out and touched the top of the mouse's head. Despereaux stared at her in wonder. The P, he decided, looked just like a picture of a fair maiden in the book of the library. The princess smiled at Despereaux again, and this time, Despereaux smiled back. And then something incredible happened. The mouse fell in love. Reader, you may ask this question. In fact, you must ask this question. Is it ridiculous for a very small, sickly, big-eared mouse to fall in love with a beautiful human princess named P? And the answer is yes. Of course it's ridiculous. But love is ridiculous. But love is wonderful and powerful. And Despereaux's love for the Princess P would prove in time to be all of those things. Powerful, wonderful, and ridiculous. You're so sweet, said the princess to Despereaux. You're so tiny. As Despereaux looked up at her adoringly, Furlough happened to be scurrying past the princess's room, moving his head left to right, right to left, and back and forth. Cripes, said Furlough. He stopped. He stared into the princess's room. His whiskers became as tight as bowstrings. What Furlough saw was Despereaux Tilling sitting at the foot of the king. What Furlough saw was the princess touching the top of his brother's head. Cripes! Shouted Furlough again. Oh, cripes! He's nuts! He's a goner. And executing a classic scurry, Furlough went off to tell his father, Lester Tilling, the terrible, unbelievable news that he had just seen. That's the end of chapter 5. Tomorrow, come on back and we'll read chapter 6 and the way things are going, maybe chapter 7. I hope you have a wonderful rest of this blustery, chilly afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow, right back here for the next chapters in The Tale of Despereaux.